The movie starts in a high-tech, not-so-distant future with Catherine Mills, a cyborg working for the Harbinger Corporation at a manufacturing plant. She receives an unexpected recording message from a robot known as SAR, having an inconsistency at Harbinger 1 training facility. She reports this to her chief, making sense that there's been a reinvent count 1.5 million just shy of one day. Absolutely uncommon. Her supervisor salutes her for it. The story proceeds to an army base where Captain Damian Bukes requests a report from one of his men, Drifter. He informs them they've been asked to join a preparation exercise. Bukes notices Mills sitting close by and moves toward the fighter responsible for sending them off. He inquires as to why his group has been preparing for such exercises many times. He tells him it's just 2 days, and they're searching for Marines with battle time. Bukes has no option except to comply. However, before he leaves, he's further told that moving forward, Mills will be his tech. She follows Bukes outside to present herself, to which Bukes tells her that she is to watch out for them. She says she will watch out for them and the equipment, which causes Bukes to accept she's attempting to sort out what her company can save on. Additionally, she says that they're military merchants, not tactical manufacturers. Bukes removes her and advises her to keep up, or she'll be abandoned. He also asks her to switch her eyes scanner off, because he doesn't like to be scanned, yet Mills lets him know it doesn't turn off. When they get onto the plane, Mills meets Bukes' entire unit, which comprises of soldiers named Drifter, Robinson, Cutbill, Goodwin, Hackett, and Loftus. On the excursion, the team keeps themselves occupied. Mills discovers that Bukes has killed 18, and that Robinson has tech inserts in his eyes. Robinson focuses his rifle on her and tells her he sees her. Mills leans forward a little and incapacitates the weapon simply by staring at it. As they reach nearer to the area, Bukes gives the unit the fundamental direction and reminds them that the ammunition is live, and they'll be observed. Mills finds she can't get to the worldwide server any longer, and is obliged to change to the nearby one. Robinson lets Bukes know that what she has are machines. The plane lands before an old-looking office. The entryway opens when the Locke's PC perceives Bukes. The PC likewise turns on the lights and rehashes a welcome message. However, as Bukes advances inside, he understands that there's no one around. When Bukes returns, he tells them to get rolling, and Mills takes the risk to inquire whether he has any ground support or recon, which he doesn't. The plane departs and the group clears their path through the office. They finally make it out into the backwoods. Bukes orders Cutbill to send a robot, reminding everyone they shouldn't let their watchman down since it's preparation. When the robot is set up, they move fanning out with Mills trailing behind, and she sees an unidentified robot among the trees. It doesn't take them long to track down the area, so they move to get into their positions, with Drifter following Mills and requesting that she help him out with his chief. Their discussion is interfered with when 3 bizarre surveillance drones appear and gaze at them, and Drifter focuses on them. However, Mills stops him, but accessing them seems to be complicated. He tells his partners about his experience. Hackett reports she has found them as well. Mills tells Drifter that Harbinger has created these new toys. However, these have been quantumly changed, and they don't have operators. Meanwhile, Bukes has additionally tracked down these robots. However, he requests that everybody should continue. Soon their training targets show up. Bukes plans a strategy, and after commencement they assault utilizing projectiles, rockets, and explosives. The strange robots watch and record their strategies, and Mills chooses to follow one more robot into the woods, where she tracks down a further developed unit classified as a SAR. She isn't surprised to see it. However, she gets stunned when it turns and there's blood on its head. She figures out how to see and downloads some recordings from the robot, which contains pictures of it shooting individuals up close and personal. She shuts her eyes, attempting to deal with this, and when she opens it, the SAR is mysteriously missing. Their superior texts them that the day is finished, and they've gotten along admirably, and it's time to camp out. Later, as the group is at their camp, they wind up sharing some battle stories, yet Mills sits all alone. Drifter can't resist the urge to watch her, and the others taunt him for it, reminding him that she isn't even human. In the meantime, Mills is going through the recordings that she obtained, when Drifter comes up to sit and inquire of her. He asks her where she had disappeared to before, to which she says she needed to check around. She asks why Bukes isn't talking to her himself, and Drifter tells her that perhaps Bukes essentially doesn't like her, which Mills believes is awful for her, thinking about Bukes' killing record. However, Drifter says that those numbers don't tell the whole story, and that's the reason Bukes would dislike her. Drifter asks her story behind getting chipped. She explains that she was only 11 years old when she was chipped, and Harbinger supported everything and cured her of paralysis. Drifter returns to the group afterward, where he finds Bukes gazing at Mills. He inquires whether she has said anything. He answers she said she's been closed off from communications and doesn't have the foggiest idea why. Drifter trusts her, however Bukes doesn't. While everybody prepares for the evening, Mills recognizes a lot of robots in the woods, and when she nods off, the weird recordings from the SAR once more show up in her eyes. Meanwhile, Loftus, who is keeping watch, is taken away by one of the robots. He begs it to leave, and it does. However, suddenly he hears a commotion. When he gazes upward with his firearm light, he sees a SAR coming after him. Loftus begins taking shots at it. Meanwhile, Mills awakens to hear the loud commotion at the camp. Goodwin informs Bukes that he saw Loftus up there. However, he's not there anymore, so the group begins looking through the woods to track him down. The following day, they track down some blood on the grass, and after a few steps, they find Loftus's body thrown against a tree. Cutbill goes crazy after seeing his companion like this. His boss instructs him to quiet down as they set up cautiously for a potential assault. Mills informs them that they're in their objectives region from yesterday. Suddenly, a robot stops to watch them, and the thing scarcely remains for a second before leaving. Suddenly, Hackett is shot and killed. Bukes orders them to move, taking cover behind trees as many robots show up where the unit took position the other day, which Buke notes. He and Drifter take out a few smoke projectiles and toss them to cover the region with haze. As the unit continues, robots and the fighters start shooting at each other. Bukes reaches out to them and draws their attention, but they strangely ease off and vanish when they see him. Meanwhile, Cutbill finds himself cut off from the group. On the run, he attempts to reach them with no luck. 3 surveillance robots draw nearer to watch him before taking off, just for the SAR to come out and kill Cutbill. Back to the group, Drifter asks Bukes what he's seen. Considering this, he concludes that these robots that they've encountered are much more advanced than yesterday's. Their defensive layer is unquestionably robust, and they had the option of making an attack on him with minimal damage. Getting angry over losing his men, he requests Mills to let him know what she knows and to switch those robots off. Mills expresses that she isn't equipped to shut them down, and that there's a programming error, and she's running the potential outcomes. This makes Bukes significantly angrier, yet Drifter bounces in to defend her, saying she doesn't have any idea, and this is a developer's mix-up. Bukes disagrees. Robinson, who's been searching for Cutbill, returns with his cap, so the group gets going again to track him down. When they pass through the woods, Drifter reminds Bukes that Mills is valuable, and she can see things that they cannot. Bukes points out that if she sees them, they see her in consequence, and so they consider the group to be in good spirits. However, Drifter says it makes no difference since they need all the help they can get at this point. Bukes can't stop thinking about the assault, and asks why the robots have allowed them to walk. He figures it very well might be because Mills was there with them. Then Mills shows them something in the woods, a colossal measure of dead creatures. It appears the robots have been using them as target practice as Loftus. Unexpectedly, Mills declares they're being followed by the Edge. They begin firing immediately, so the group takes off quickly. When a specific shot is about to hit Mills, Bukes pushes her far away, making them roll away and get isolated from the group. Mills hits a tree and drops. Drifter advises Goodwin and Robinson to get moving before the sunset. Bukes figures out how to bring Mills back to the group and connects with Drifter. They tell each other of their circumstances, and when Drifter says that they'll go get him, Bukes orders them to remain where they are. The robots could find them, and it would be better to refocus in the morning. A few hours after the incident, a robot shows up before Bukes. It leaves rapidly, however, and he gets Mills and takes her behind the wall as the SAR approaches them. She suddenly opens her eyes with some codes running through them, and the SAR leaves. It's morning when Mills at last awakens. Bukes says he doesn't realize what happened the previous evening. Mills mentions that they need to track down the robot. Upon asking for the reason, she says she can't make sense of it. Bukes orders her to track down a way before saying they're leaving. They later meet together with the 3 leftover troops. Drifter says that they weren't followed, regardless of whether they could have done so with ease, because there were many of them that evening. They decide to return to the drop point, believing a transport will get them. Bukes takes Mills to the door since she's the only one who can open it while the others cover their backs. Bukes attempts to get in, yet the lock's computer doesn't recognize him. Suddenly, surveillance drones show up and Mills assumes control over the entryway, hacking into the computer system. Unexpectedly, some smoke explosives are shot nearby. The soldiers realize the robots are copying them, and Bukes can't see a thing. There's no opportunity to plan. The robots show up and begin shooting them, hence the soldiers retreat. Drifter gets shot just before Mills figures out how to open the door. The soldiers must pause and conceal to shield themselves from the heavy fire, and Bukes chooses to assist them. They all clutch at each other and they attempt to retreat. However, Drifter stays back shooting to allow them the opportunity to get away. The SAR tracks him down and pins him on his back. Bukes sees this and returns to save him. Mills also notices it, so she turns and goes along with them. The robots quit shooting when they see her. She attempts to deactivate them, however she can't. Bukes targets Drifter while Mills tries to deactivate the units, so she tells the warriors to stop shooting. But instead, since she isn't getting any place, Bukes shoots Drifter before the SAR can kill him to save him from the torment. Mills shouts at the loss of her companion. Bukes gets her and hauls her with him as they finally enter the base again. Inside the structure, Mills yells at Bukes for what he did. Mills says she doesn't have the foggiest idea why they're here, and the Marines came here to prepare. However, she realizes that they were mentioned. She's the one that composed the program and planned the models. However, the codes have progressed beyond what they could have envisioned. When asked precisely what they are, Mills replies that they were substitutes, machines assuring control over human officers, so no more lives would be lost. They learn and work on themselves just like individuals. Bukes brings up that these men are dead directly because of her. Mills keeps crying when they leave the room. The robots gradually cut the primary entryway, so they need to track down a superior protected position. Mills opens the door to a workforce region and turns on the lights, where they find more SARs. Bukes tells Mills not to turn them on and requests her to open the door. Mills uses a screen to interface with the neighborhood framework, but she can't figure out how to speak with the rest of the world. Bukes indicates that there's a bottleneck and they could dial back the robots from here. As the fighters get ready and set up charges, Mills leaves the room, locking the door behind her so they can't follow her. Since the SAR units have power, she initiates one. They are undeniably associated with one another, so when one awakens, one will understand what they all know. She intends to get to them through this one. The robot awakens, and after Mills turns on its discourse program, it begins responding to her inquiries. Its requests are to run the human battle program, which Mills attempts to deactivate, yet she can't. It tells her it can't consent due to a human mistake. As the robot determines her identity, Mills acknowledges that she does not have access. When she asks when the preparations will be completed, the robot says completion unspecified. Meanwhile, Bukes keeps asking Mills to open the entrance, yet she won't listen. She tries to hack and deactivate the units again. She isn't effective, and the activated SAR begins activating the other robots. Simultaneously, the ones from the outside at last break in. Mills is being surrounded from all sides. However, Robinson figures out how to access the entryway and hauls her inside before shutting it again. The robots immediately begin to cut this one open as well. The group returns to the bottleneck room, where Bukes wraps up the bombs. But once the robot breaks in, they don't have enough time to get away before the bomb blows up, hitting them too. A second electromagnetic aggravation causes Mills to realize the robots also carry EMP projectiles. They all make it outside, where they track down many deserted structures, prepared gear, and other bodies. While the soldiers look at the relics, Mills enters a passageway and takes an EMP projectile from one of the fallen robots. Subsequently, while the men partition the ammo and prepare for an attack, she watches the recording of the passing of her colleagues, which makes her cry and want to use the EMP on the robots. At the same time, everybody hangs tight for the robots. Bukes finds Mills with the explosives. Mills informs him it's an option to deactivate the SAR. However, its reach is short, and they'll require a detonator. She further mentions that they haven't been killed at this point, because the robots have pushed them there intentionally for more practice. Only the EMP can stop them. Bukes brings up the blast might kill her, yet Mills believes it's their best option. They wait for the whole evening, and it isn't until morning that the robots finally come. Robinson is the one to attract them from his spot as a sharpshooter. Goodwin avoids sight since he has the detonators. When the units enter the city, Robinson and Bukes start a gunfight with them while Mills watches the area for the best time to tell Goodwin when to set off the bombs they've hidden. Goodwin sets off the bombs, which cause the enemy to lose many of their robots. Mills keeps directing Robinson and Bukes safely through the city, warning them of approaching assaults. Yet when Goodwin activates another bomb, the robots track him down, and he leaves his appointed position. Robinson covers Bukes as he races to help Goodwin, who's being pursued by SAR. He figures out how to snatch and take him out of harm's way, and Robinson dies covering their backs. When they arrive at a protected space, Goodwin specifies he's dropped the detonator on the way, so Bukes goes out under heavy fire to recover it. There, he finds Mills, who recovers it as the robots come closer. Bukes advises her to run, so the EMP doesn't hit her. However, she declines. One of the SARs shoot Mills. However, Bukes catches her as she drops down. While lying in his arms, she sets off the EMP projectile. The robots all begin to shut down, and Mills falls unconscious. Be that as it may, an SAR awakens and pursues them out of nowhere, so Bukes needs to carry Mills away. They enter a structure and Bukes begins shooting at the robots on the steps. Mills sneaks into the room where Robinson's body lies. Bukes is then tossed inside by the machine, and he requests that he finishes him. However, the SAR can't, because it says it needs more more information to complete the program. Although it pursues Mills, it has no way of identifying her. However, as it threatens to kill her, she activates Robinson's rifle and shoots the SAR down. The robot interfaces with her and downloads data into her mind, before eventually deactivating. The film closes as a transport shows up to rescue Bukes, Goodwin, and Mills and get them out of there. As the soldiers load onto the plane, Mills' eyes open, showing us that the SAR's central mission will continue on through Mills. If you enjoyed that recap, I got a good feeling that you'll like this one too. Click on the video on your screen for more.